जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय हे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे कृष्ण Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Shri Shri Gauranitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivraacharya Stotra Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Samshla Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashta Prayasva Bhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today, 10th canto, 71st chapter, and we have many verses from 17 to 24, and the displayed verse is 17. So we'll recite 17 together. Balam brihadvaja patachhatra chamare varayudha bharana kirita varmabhi divam shubhistumula ravam babhoraver yatharnavakshubhita timingilormibhi balam brihadvaja patachhatra chamarer वरायुधाभरण भरण किरीट वर्मभि दिवांशुभिस्तुमुल रवं बभोरवेर यथा नवक्षुभित तिमिंगिलोर्मिभिः बलं बृहध्वजपट छत्रचामरे वरायुधाभरण किरीटवर्मभिः दिवांशुभिस्तुमुलरवं बभोरवे यथार्णवक्षुभित तिमिलोङ्गोन्मोर्भिः ध्वज पटछत्र चामरे वराय धारण किरीट वर्ण दिवांशुभिस्तुमुलरवं बभोरवे यथा नवक्षुभित तिमिलोक. Okay, Balam, the army. Brihat, huge. Dhwaja, with flagpoles. Pata, banners. Chhatra, umbrellas. Chamare, and yak-tail fans. Vara, excellent. Ayudha, with weapons. Abharana, jewelry. Kirita, helmets. Varmabhi, and armor. Diva, during the day. Amshubhihi, by the rays. Tumula, tumultuous. Ravam, whose sound. Babho, shone brilliantly. Ravehe, of the sun. Yatha, like. Arnavaha, an ocean. Shubhita, agitated. Timingala, whose Timingala fish. Urmibhihi, and waves. Translation: the Lord's army boasted royal umbrellas, chamara fans, and huge flagpoles with waving banners. During the day, the sun's rays reflected brightly from the soldiers' fine weapons, jewelry, helmets and armor. Thus, Lord Krishna's army, noisy with shouts and clatter, appeared like an ocean stirring with agitated waves and Timingala fish. We just read the subsequent verses. 18th. Atho muni yadupatina sabhajita pranamyatam ridi vidadhat vihayasa nishamyatad vyavasitamaritārhano mukunda sandarshana nivritendriya. Honored by Sri Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, Narad Muni bowed down to the Lord. All of the Narada's senses were satisfied by his meeting with Lord Krishna. Thus, having heard the decision of the Lord and having been worshipped by him, Narada placed him firmly within his heart and departed through the sky. Rajadutam uvachedam bhagavan prinayan gira ma bhaishtha duta bhadram vo ghateshyami magatham. With pleasing words, the Lord addressed the messenger sent by the kings. My dear messenger, I wish all good fortune to you. I shall arrange for the killing of the king of Magadha. Do not fear. The statement ma bhaishtha, do not fear, in the plural, being intended for both the messenger and the kings. Similarly, the expression bhadram vaha, blessings on to, is also plural, expressing a similar intent. Ityukta prastito duta yathavad avadan nipan tepi sandarshanam shaure pratyekshan yanmuko mumukshavaha. Thus addressed, the messenger departed and accurately relayed the Lord's message to the kings. Eager for freedom, they then waited expectantly for meeting with Lord Krishna. The great Vaishnava scholar Srila Jiva Goswami comments here that by the force of circumstances, the kings began focusing their attention on Lord Krishna alone. Anartha sovira marums tirtva vinashan harihi girin nadir atiyaya puragrama vrajakaran. As he travelled through the province of Anartha, Sauvira, Marudesha and Vinashana, Lord Hari crossed rivers and passed mountains, cities, villages, cow pastures and quarries. 22. Tato drishadvatim tirtva mukundo atha sarasvatim Panchalanatha matsyamsha shakraprastham athagamat. After crossing the rivers Drishadvati and Saraswati, he passed through Panchal and Matsya and finally came to Indraprastha. 23rd. Tamupagatam akarnya prito durdarshanam ninam ajata shatru niragat sapadhyaya surudvritaha. King Yudhiṣṭhira was delighted to hear that the Lord, whom human beings rarely see, had now arrived. Accompanied by his priest and dear associates, the king came out to meet Lord Krishna. Gīta-vāditra-ghoṣeṇa brahma-ghoṣeṇa bhūyasā abhyayāt sa hṛṣīkeśaṁ prāṇam ivādṛtaḥ. As songs and musical instruments resounded along with the loud vibration of Vedic hymns, the king went forth with great reverence to meet Lord Hṛṣīkeśa, just as the senses go forth to meet the consciousness of life. Purport: Lord Krishna is here described as hṛṣīkeśa, the Lord of the senses, and King Yudhiṣṭhira, rushing to the Lord, is compared to the senses eagerly joining the consciousness of life. Without consciousness, the senses are useless. Indeed, the senses function through consciousness. Similarly, when the individual souls are bereft of Krishna consciousness, love of God, they enter into useless and illusory struggle called material existence. Pure devotees like King Yudhiṣṭhira are never bereft of Lord's association, for they keep him always within their heart, and yet they feel special ecstasy when they see the Lord after long separation, as described here. Om ajnana-timirandhasya jnananjana-shalakaya chakshurmlitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So seeking blessings of senior devotees, Panchoda Prabhuji and others. And so thank you to Dharmatma Prabhu for giving this opportunity to serve. So welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. And we are reading from chapter 71, the Lord travels to Indraprastha. So very interestingly, we read many verses today. So this is describing the procession of Lord Kṛṣṇa from Dwarka to Indraprastha, which is Delhi, you can say, present-day Delhi. And how many people were there in Krishna's entourage? His wives, all his wives were going with Krishna, 16,108 wives. And their sons. So Krishna had 10 sons from each wife. And so many servants and so many soldiers. So I think Krishna's whole group must be in millions, right? Imagine so many people going from Gujarat all the way from Dwarka to Delhi, right? It's long distance, maybe around 1,000 kilometers or so, But such a beautiful, it said the procession was so beautiful, colorful, with servants having chamaras and holding umbrellas and beautiful palanquins and beautiful chariots and elephants and horses. So very beautiful procession. And the brahmanas chanting Vedic hymns. And such a beautiful procession was going from Dwarka to Indraprastha. And also we read a few verses, because in the previous verses you must have heard that why Krishna is going to Indraprastha? Because Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj had invited Krishna to perform Rajasuya Yajna. And also one messenger came sent by the kings who were captured by Jarasandha. Jarasandha was the king of Magad, which is present-day Bihar. So he was a very powerful king. We all know that Krishna defeated him 17 times. And every time he came with, again, fresh soldiers. So Krishna was very intelligent. He just sat at one place, and every time he allowed him to bring many, many soldiers, and he killed them all. And the last time, 18th time, actually Krishna himself fled. He said, too much of wars, let me go to a peaceful place. So Krishna came to Dwarka. But Jarasandha had to be killed. And also because to perform Rajasuya Yajna, we need to defeat all other kings. So that's the meaning of Rajasuya Yajna means the emperor who performs the Rajasuya Yajna, all other kings should accept him as their master. So they have to become subordinates. So Krishna knew that unless he killed Jarasandha, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj could not perform the Rajasuya Yajna. It was like 2 in 1. So he had to go to kill Jarasandha, and by that way he could answer the prayers of the kings who were captured by Jarasandha, and also he would pave the way for Rajasuya Yajna. So Krishna made this plan. So first he went to Indraprastha. We are saying he is going to Indraprastha, and from there he will go to Magadha along with Bhima and Arjuna. We'll see that in the next chapter, which is slaying of the demon Jarasandha. So, very interesting. See, Krishna always wants to give credit to his devotees. Krishna could have easily killed Jarasandha, right? 17 times he defeated. Any time he could have killed him. But you see that Krishna left this service for Bhim. Like once some devotees, I think, they asked Prabhupada that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not preach in the Western world. And then Srila Prabhupada said that he left this service for me and you. Because Krishna feels more happy to give credit to his devotees. Right? Krishna could have easily killed all the Kauravas, but he wanted to give credit to the Pandavas, to Arjuna. Similarly here, Krishna wanted to give the credit to Bhima for killing Jarasandha. That's the next chapter. So here what we are seeing in the 24th verse, the meeting of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj and Krishna. So imagine, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, such a dear devotee of Krishna, and as soon as he heard that Krishna is coming, he came out of his palace and accompanied by his priest and other associates. He came outside to greet Krishna, and he went and embraced Krishna. And it is said that the meeting is compared as if the senses are meeting consciousness. The example is given that the senses, imagine a dead person, can he do anything with the senses? No, it's all dead, right? So as long as prana is there, consciousness is there, the senses are alive. So just like senses meeting consciousness. So that analogy is given that when Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj met Krishna, it was as the senses go forth to meet consciousness of life. In other words, just like senses are useless without consciousness, a devotee feels that he is useless unless he has association of Krishna. And it is said that pure devotees always feel the presence of Krishna in their heart, but still when they meet Krishna personally, the ecstasy further increases. So in one sense, a pure devotee is never separate from Krishna, but still when there is viraha for many years, when there is separation between Krishna and devotees, and when they again meet, that meeting is very, very special. So we can see that after a long duration, when Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj again met Lord Krishna, he was so happy, he was so ecstatic. And we'll hear in the subsequent verses that how, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, he embraced Krishna again and again, and tears started coming from his eyes, and his body shook due to ecstasy. So he became so ecstatic as soon as he embraced Krishna. And then Bhima also, he embraced Krishna, and he also, tears started flowing from his eyes, and he laughed and he was so happy. And then Arjuna, he embraced Krishna, and Nakula and Sahadev, they paid their obeisances because they were juniors. And Krishna again embraced them. And then the other Pandavas, the other members, they also welcomed Krishna. So this is a very nice pastime we are seeing, meeting of Krishna and his dear devotees. And everywhere we see in Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, we have so many wonderful pastimes that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and the devotees used to come every year for Rath Yatra, and he used to meet each one of them. In fact, Mahaprabhu used to go out. He used to go to a place known as Athara Nala. He was so eager to meet his devotees. So Atharnala is about 10 kilometers from Mahaprabhu's residence. He was so eager that he was going on the way just to meet. And the devotees, when they came, Mahaprabhu used to embrace each one of them. So such loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees we see in Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is actually all, once, Srila Prabhupada, what is Bhagavatam? It's all about loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees. That is all you can see in Bhagavatam. Every canto you pick up, you see the intimate relationship between Krishna and his devotees. Right? Whether it's Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nrsimhadev, Dhruva Maharaj, or wherever we see reciprocation between, or Lord Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj, it's all the reciprocation of Krishna and his devotees. And 10th canto we see the Brajvasis, Vrindavan pastimes, Mathura pastimes, Dwarka pastimes, Indraprastha, Hastinapur. Everywhere we see the intimate relationship between Krishna and his devotees. And devotees, so in one sense, we cannot say someone is a higher or low devotee. But still, Acharyas have categorized that who are the most dear to Krishna. So we'll little bit discuss today from a scripture known as Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Although I have not read it fully, but I have read parts of it. And this is, Srila Prabhupada also writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that anyone who wants to know about the subject matter of devotees, devotional service and Krishna must read this book. Srila Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita Purport. So it's a very nice book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Anyone of you have read this? Yeah, Prabhuji has read. I have read parts of it. So I'll just share a little bit from this book and translated beautifully by Gopi Parandan Prabhu, who was a very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. In fact, he and Hridayananda Maharaj, they have completed the translation of Bhagavatam, which we are reading now. So I remember in Vrindavan also used to come sometimes to give classes in the temple, Krishna Balaram temple. Very, very humble and nice devotee. So he has translated and written purports to Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So what's, and Sanatana Goswami has written this beautiful book. This is like you can say a further elaboration on Bhagavatam. So in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, in part 1, Sanatana Goswami is actually giving a whole ascending order of devotees. So once the story goes like that, Narad Muni wanted to find out who is the greatest devotee of the Lord, who is most dear to the Lord. So first he goes to Prayag. Now many devotees are going to Prayag, Kumbh Mela is going on. So first Narad Muni went to Prayag and he saw a Brahmana there who did beautiful worship. He had Shaligram Shila, he was doing Abhishek of Shaligram Shila, he offered so much bhoga to Shaligram Shila, tears were rolling from his cheeks as he was offering bhoga and doing worship, and distributed prasad to all the devotees, Brahmanas. So Narad Muni goes to him and says, "Oh, you are such a great devotee, you are so dear to Krishna." And that Brahmana, that devotee who was worshipping Shaligram Shila, he felt very embarrassed. He said, "Who am I? I'm not even a devotee. There's so many devotees who are greater than me. You go to South India, you will see a king. He has engaged his entire kingdom in devotional service. He is much greater than me. Go there." So Narad Muni immediately goes to South India, goes to the king, and then he praises the king. "Oh, you are such a great devotee of the Lord. Look, you have made your entire kingdom into devotees. All the time you are, like that." He praised the king. Then the king said, "What am I? I'm a simple, normal human being. Hardly I'm able to do any service. If you want to see a real devotee, go to heaven. See Indra. The king of heaven, you see how gorgeously he performs sacrifices, how opulently he worships the Lord. He is greater devotee." So then Narad Muni goes to Indra. So please remember the sequence, right? First the Brahmana in Prayag, then the king of South India, and then he goes to Indra. And Indra says, so then Narad Muni glorified Indra. "Oh, you are such a nice devotee." Because when Indra performs sacrifices, the Lord personally appears there to accept his offerings. And Indra's own brother is Vamanadev. So in this way, Narad Muni glorified Indra. But Indra then, he took Narad Muni to a private place, said, Narad Muni, you know everything. What a devotee I am, Do you forget Govardhan Leela? It all happened because I was so stupid, I wanted to kill all the Brajvasis. How can you call me a devotee? I am attached to my position, I am proud, I am not a devotee. So at least Indra is honest, right? So he's saying, no, I am not a great devotee. Although Indra is a devotee, because unless he is a devotee, Lord will not keep him in his position, right? He is a devotee. But sometimes he gets distracted. So, but then Indra said, you go to, whom does Indra send him to? Brahma, right? Those who know the story, you know. So then Narad Muni goes to Brahma. And he praises Lord Brahma, oh, you are the son of the Supreme Lord. You offered so many beautiful prayers to the Lord. When you pray to the Lord incarnates in this world. Like that he went on praising Brahmaji. And then Brahmaji also said, Narad Muni, don't embarrass me. Don't you know Brahma Vimohan Leela? How I got bewildered? I had the audacity to steal all the calves and cowherd boys. He said, I am not a devotee. There are so many devotees greater than me. If you really want to know who is dear to the Lord, Brahmaji then talks about Lord Shiva. He says, go to Lord Shiva. He is a devotee. Vaishnavanam yatha shambhu. Bhagavatam talks in the 12th canto, Nimna ganam yatha ganga, devanam achyuto yatha, Vaishnavanam yatha shambhu, purananam idam tata. So in 12th canto this beautiful verse is there. Among all the rivers, Ganga is the highest. Among all the gods, Krishna or hṛṣīkeśa, Achyuta, he is the supreme. Among all the Vaishnavas, Shambhu or Lord Shiva is the supreme. And among all the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest. So then Narad Muni goes to Lord Shiva and he praises Lord Shiva, oh, you are such a great Vaishnav. And then they embrace each other, Lord Shiva and Narad Muni. And so first Lord Shiva was very happy, but then when he heard praise about himself, he became embarrassed. He said, no, Narad Muni. I also get bewildered sometimes. I fought with Krishna. You know that pastime, right? That once Lord Shiva fought with Krishna. That what kind of devotee I am. I sometimes even fight with Krishna. I am not a devotee. You really want to know who is a devotee? Go to Lakshmi Devi. But then he talks privately to Narad Muni. I will tell you someone who is even greater than Lakshmi Devi. Who is that? Prahlad Maharaj. So and then Lord Shiva glorifies Prahlad Maharaj profusely. And look at Prahlad Maharaj, what kind of devotee he was. 5-year-old, so many difficulties, so many tribulations. But he never forgot the Lord. And the Lord personally appeared to protect Prahlad Maharaj. He is the greatest devotee. Please go to Prahlad. So Lord Shiva says he is even greater than Lakshmi Devi. Why? Because Lakshmi Devi is all the time in the spiritual world. But in this material world, facing so many challenges, difficulties, still Prahlad Maharaj, he was, fixed in his devotional service. So therefore, he is even greater than Lakshmi Devi. That is the logic given by Lord Shiva. See, of course, in one sense, we should not compare. All devotees are great, but still, we can, through acharyas, by their writings, we can see that who is greater. So then Narad Muni comes to Prahlad. And who is Prahlad Maharaj? He is a disciple of Narad Muni. But Narad Muni is going to his own disciple and glorifying him. So it's so embarrassing if the spiritual master glorifies a disciple, right? He feels so embarrassed. So Narad Muni went on glorifying Prahlad. Oh Prahlad, you are so great. Because of you, Lord came. And like that, he went on glorifying Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj was really embarrassed. And then he said, oh Narad Muni, please don't say like that. Have I done any service to the Lord? No. In fact, I gave trouble to the Lord. He had to come to save me. I have not done any seva. So one thing we can learn from all these devotees is that what should be the mood of a devotee. Normally we always think that I am such a great devotee and things that other are not devotees. But here is completely opposite. Every devotee is saying that I am not a devotee. Look at him. He is such a nice devotee. So Prahlad Maharaj then said, I am not a devotee. I have not done any practical service. I simply remembered the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj is the Acharya for Smaranam. But he is saying that I have not done any practical service to the Lord. If you want to see a devotee, go to Hanumanji. He has done so many services for the Lord. Go to Hanumanji. He is actual devotee. I am not a devotee. So then Narad Muni goes to Hanumanji and he starts praising Hanumanji. Oh, you are such a dear devotee of Lord Ram. You have done so many wonderful services for Lord Ram. No one is dearer than you to the Lord. You are the greatest devotee. So like that he goes on praising Hanumanji. And Hanumanji, he says, Narad Muni, if I was dear to the Lord, why he left me in this material world? Because Hanumanji, where he stays, Kim Purushaloka. So Narad Muni went to Kim Purushaloka to meet Hanumanji. So Hanumanji is giving the logic that I am not dear to the Lord. Lord didn't take me with him to the spiritual world, but he left me here. Because Hanumanji stays in Kim Purushavarsh and always engages in hearing Ramayana and chanting Lord Ram's name. So Hanuman said, I am not dear to the Lord. He took everyone with him, but he left me here. And then Hanumanji says that you really want to know who is dear to Lord? Go and see the Pandavas. And here we are talking about Pandavas meeting Krishna. So this section will read a little bit that how Hanumanji is glorifying Pandavas and what Narad Muni is saying about Pandavas. Yeah. So Hanumanji is saying, I must be ready to present myself before him without delay, whenever he might call. So Hanumanji is saying, I am waiting in Kim Purushaloka because the Lord may call me anytime for seva. And Hanumanji is all the time ready for seva. Any seva he is immediately ready for service. Therefore he is the Acharya of Sevanam. So he is saying, now you please go to visit the Pandavas at their home and see the supreme absolute truth in his appearance like a human being. Lord Kṛṣṇa is fully satisfied in himself. Even great sages cannot perceive him in their hearts or describe him with their words. He is a supreme enchanter because his wonderful pastimes are the source of endless attraction. So in the commentary it is said, the Pandavas did not follow any sadhana for self-realization. Yet Lord Kṛṣṇa was so satisfied with their devotional attitude that he bestowed on them his full mercy, rarely obtained even by accomplished sages. Thus the Pandavas forever enjoyed the most exclusive good fortune. They live in intimate friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose pastimes, activities are full of sweet variety and is source of all other attractive persons, including Cupid. Then Hanumanji is saying to Narad Muni, oh Narad Muni, don't become proud that you and I, we are brahmacharis. Because Narad Muni is a brahmachari and Hanumanji is a brahmachari. So he saying to Hanumanji, don't think that we are brahmacharis for greater devotees. No, don't think like that. The Pandavas are householders, but they are the most dear to the Lord. Because sometimes we see devotees from that perspective. So Hanumanji is saying, don't make that mistake. They may be householders, they may be engaged in political affairs, but they are more dear to the Lord than you and me. We may be brahmacharis, but they are more dear to the Lord. Those Pandavas never desire anything material because they constantly serve Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And indeed, their own lotus feet are worshipped by the spiritual masters of the Paramahansas. Saying the Pandavas, they do not desire anything material. They constantly serve the Lord's lotus feet. Not only that, great Paramahansas, they want to worship the lotus feet of the Pandavas. They are such great devotees. The eldest of these brothers rules the state out of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is the eldest? Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, about whom we are reading today. So he is saying that he is ruling the state only out of love for Krishna. Thus his kingdom is rich in all sorts of assets and rarely enjoyed by the demigods. So Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj accepted the responsibility only out of love for Krishna. He had no intention to become the king. Only to fulfill Krishna's instructions, he became the king. And you know one thing, that when Mahabharata war took place, that time Krishna's age was, anybody knows? Around 90 years, 89. But then Krishna stayed on this planet till 125 years. What was the reason? He could have left after that. Because after Mahabharata, most of his mission was accomplished. He killed all the demons. Everything was done. But he stayed on this planet for 36 more years only to please Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. For Krishna knew that the moment I leave, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj will also leave. The Pandavas will also leave. And that's what happened. The moment we see in first canto of Bhagavatam, when the Pandavas received the news that Krishna has left the planet, they immediately left their kingdom and went to the Himalayas. They made Parikshit Maharaj the king. So Krishna knew that that is the level of love the Pandavas have for him. Therefore Krishna stayed for 36 more years. He wanted at least his pure devotee to rule this planet for 36 years. So he's saying that Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj has no attraction for the kingdom, but he is ruling only for the pleasure of Krishna. And what he does, he does sacrifices like Rajasuya, Ashwamedha Yajna and all that only to please Krishna. His pure fame is known throughout the three worlds. His faultless possessions evoke the envy of the gods. The king achieved all this opulence by Krishna's mercy and has offered it all to Krishna. It never had any power to please him. So Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was never pleased by the opulences. No. His only pleasure was to please Krishna. Since his heart always burns in the fire of love for Krishna, those garlands, fine garments, sandalwood pulp attract him no more than they would attract a man afflicted by the fire of hunger. So he's saying that he's not attracted by the opulences of kingdom. No. Just see, his superlative queen is none other than Srimati Draupadi, and his brothers are such men as the blessed Bhimasena and Arjuna. They are dear to him not only because of bodily ties or because they help him reach the four goals of material life, but because of the loving bond with the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So another very interesting point, that the Pandava brothers, they were so close to each other. Why? Because they were all serving Krishna. So like Prabhupada always tells that if you have Krishna in the center of our lives, our relationship will also improve. Whether it's brothers, husband, wife. So Hanumanji is saying that the brothers are so close to each other. Why? Because they are all serving Krishna. So Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj respects his brothers not only as brothers but as devotees of the Lord. But what can a forest monkey like me say about the Pandavas? Who is saying this? Hanumanji. That I am a monkey, what can I say? Your Lordship already knows much more than I about their glories. You please go yourself and see the Pandavas. And then Narad Muni, with great joy, he arrived dancing at the kingdom of Kurus and raced into the capital city. So Narad Muni went to Hastinapur or Indraprastha, wherever. And that time, Dharmaraj Yudhiṣṭhira. So Yudhiṣṭhira is called Dharmaraj because he was very, very pious. He never deviated from Dharma. Right? And he is also considered to be incarnation of Yamaraj. You know that story when Yamaraj was cursed? So it is said Yamaraj became Vidura, and also in one part he became, his son. So his son is also Yudhiṣṭhira, son of Yamaraj. So that time, what Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was doing, he was consulting with his inner circle, making some plans, how can we bring Krishna here? Just see. What was Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj's thought? Let me do something, how can we bring Krishna to Hastinapur? By this time, Mahabharata battle was over. So he was thinking, what can we do? Shall we organize some sacrifice? Or shall we, make a false story that some demons are attacking us or some enemies are attacking us? So this is you can see, the absorption of Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. And how can we bring Krishna to Hastinapur? Because earlier also the whole Rajasuya Yajna, which we are reading now, why he conducted Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj? Yeah, to please Krishna and to establish that Krishna is the greatest person in the entire existence. Because in Rajasuya Yajna, all the emperors of the world, all the great sages, even demigods, Brahmaji, Shivji, they also came. And the first ceremony is known as Agra Puja, the first worship of the most respected person. So he wanted to do Agra Puja to Krishna in that assembly and show to the entire world that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because although Krishna was there, people still didn't know that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because only devotee can preach the glories of the Lord. Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj had preaching mood. He wanted to show to the entire world that Krishna is not some ordinary king, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why he organized the whole Rajasuya Yajna. Not a small yajna, it's a huge, huge sacrifice. Imagine the kings of the whole entire planet, they came. Even the demigods, they came. Such a huge function. And required so much money, and Arjuna and they collected money, and they had to defeat enemies, kings in all directions. So it was a big, big endeavor. But why Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj took up such a great endeavor? His only motivation was to preach the glories of Krishna, establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then again he did Ashwamedha Yajna also, just so that Krishna could come to Hastinapur. So all the time Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was planning that what can I do to invite Krishna to come here. And then as soon as Narad Muni came, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj ran to meet him. He bowed his head at the feet of Narad Muni. And he brought Narad Muni and made him sit. And he brought paraphernalia to worship Narad Muni. But what Narad Muni did, he took that and started worshipping Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj. Narad chanted at length the glories of the precious treasure of which Hanuman had spoken, Krishna's favor on the Pandavas. Narada accompanied his words by playing his veena. So as he was playing his veena, he was glorifying the Pandavas. Shri Narada said, "You are indeed the most fortunate persons on earth. The Lord of all lords of this universe is your dearest friend. He is your God, your spiritual master, your blood relation, your material cousin. He is your messenger, well-wisher, order carrier and charioteer." So beautiful verse we can do in Sanskrit. Yujam niloke bata bhuri bhaga yesham priyaso jagadishwaresha devo gurur bandhu sumatuleya duta surutsarathirukti tantra. So Krishna had all kinds of relationship with Pandavas. He's saying he is your God also. Krishna is your God. Krishna is your spiritual master. Krishna is your material cousin, because Krishna was a cousin brother. Krishna is your messenger. Krishna sometimes became messenger for the Pandavas. Krishna is your well-wisher, always thinking of how to protect you, how to do good to you. And Krishna is your order carrier. And Krishna also became your charioteer. Just see. Krishna did all possible roles to serve and please his devotees Pandavas. Krishna, it said, he even became security guard. He was, in the night time, he was guarding the camp of the Pandavas sometimes. So what not he has done? Everything he has done for the Pandavas. So therefore he is saying, Bhuri, Bhaga, that unlimitedly you are fortunate. That Krishna is so intimate to you and he has taken up so many roles to please you. He's saying that Krishna, even Brahma, Rudra and other demigods, they cannot even realize him by doing meditation. That Krishna, even Lord Brahma, when he goes to pray to Krishna to appear on this planet, Krishna doesn't give his darshan. Krishna speaks only in his heart. So the demigods like Brahma, even they can't have darshan of Krishna and that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu is just his expansion. But the original Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is there all the time with you. He is your friend. He is your well-wisher. So you are so fortunate. You are such great devotees. So in this way, he just goes on glorifying the Pandavas. So in this way, we can see actually that the Pandavas were really, and I'll just read one or two more verses. There is a verse where Krishna is saying in Mahabharata that the Pandavas are so dear to me that anyone who is enemy of Pandavas is my enemy. And anyone who is friend of Pandavas is my friend. Just see, this is Krishna's mood. That anyone who serves his pure devotees, he says, he is my devotee. And Krishna is saying that anyone who is enemy of my devotee is also my enemy. So such is the intimate connection between Krishna and the Pandavas. So we can see in the entire Mahabharata and Bhagavatam, so many wonderful such loving exchanges I mentioned. When Krishna wanted to go back to Dwarka, Kunti Mahani stopped him. He said, no, please wait. She offered prayers. Again he was going back. Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj stopped him. Imagine, Krishna by whose order, by whose mere glance, everything is happening. Who can give order to Krishna? But the Pandavas did that. They said, Krishna stop, he stopped. So this is the intimate connection between the Pandavas, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadev, Kunti Mahani, Draupadi, the entire family. So we can see in the pages of Bhagavatam the intimate relationship, and which has been further elaborated in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So this is what I shared a little bit, that we should feel inspired that how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. He goes to any extent to serve and please his devotees. That is the power of devotional service, bhakti. Only pure devotional service can attract Krishna. Therefore, the 6 symptoms of pure bhakti mentioned by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that is Kleshada, Kleshagni, Shubhada. Kleshagni means it destroys all material sufferings. Subhada gives all auspiciousness. Then Sudurlabha, very rarely achieved. Moksha Lagutakrit, which diminishes the value of liberation. And then Sandrananda Visheshatma, gives intense bliss to the devotees. And Shri Krishna Akarshini, attracts Shri Krishna. So Krishna is attracted by the pure devotional mood of his pure devotees like the Pandavas. And is controlled by that. And then of course after Pandavas, what Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj will say? That we are not devotees. See, Krishna has left us. Where is he now? Dwarka. He is with the Yadus. That means Yadus are more exalted. They are more dearer to Krishna. And then Narad Muni goes to Dwarka, and there, what they say? Gopis are most dear. Although Krishna is here in Dwarka, but his heart is with Brajvasis, with the Gopis. And that's how it concludes. And among the Gopis, who is the highest? Srimati Radharani. So this is what I discussed a little bit. Any questions, any comments? Yes, Prabhu.
I don't know Mahabharata so well, but when Pandu, the younger brother Dhritarashtra, left early, the Pandavas were very young, and Dhritarashtra and he was taking care of them. So when they were trying to kill them by poison and by the house and lacquer, when did they end up in Indraprastha? And then Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj did the Rajasuya, that means he became the emperor of the whole world. So then how did they become banished after becoming the emperor of the whole world? And then Kurukshetra, I'm just trying to understand the
Mahabharata.
In Indraprastha, is that Hastinapur also, or is that a part of Hastinapur?
Okay, I'll explain. So Prabhu just want to clarify.
Just clarify that.
So what happened was, after Pandu's death, so the Pandavas, so they came back to Hastinapur. So Hastinapur was the old capital. They came back, and they had to become the kings. But Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, they didn't want them to become the kings. Then they started making all plots. They put them in a house which was burnt to fire, gave them poison and all that. After that, finally they thought, it's enough, we cannot kill them. So then they came out with a strategy that let's divide the kingdom, and they gave them a piece of land which was barren, which was of no use. That was called Indraprastha. But by Krishna's mercy, that Indraprastha became a beautiful capital. That was called Indraprastha. So when Duryodhan was residing in Hastinapur, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj had a new capital called Indraprastha, near Hastinapur. So today they say Meerut is Hastinapur and Delhi is Indraprastha, two nearby cities. And Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj did a Rajyasya in Indraprastha. And the palace was so opulent that Duryodhan got confused, which is water, which is land. This is a pastime that he thought land to be water and water to be land, and he went to water and fell into the water. The palace was so beautiful. And looking at that, Draupadi laughed, just like you are laughing.
Everyone laughed. Huh? Everyone laughed.
And Draupadi laughed. And that Duryodhan could not, bear that insult. So then he said, I will take revenge against Pandavas. Then he ployed for a game of dice. So, and Dhritarashtra being the supreme king, so when he invited Pandavas for a game of dice, Kshatriya cannot refuse if someone calls them for fight or game of dice. So then Pandavas came to Hastinapur for game of dice, and then they pledged their kingdom and lost. And pledged his wife and lost his wife. Then that whole pastime of disrobing Draupadi. And then they were banished for 14 years. So when they came back after 14 years, they should have got Indraprastha back. But again, Duryodhan said no. So then the fight of Mahabharata took place. Thank you, Raji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So the question is, now you said Krishna is so intimate, it's so close to the Pandavas, But if you see the sufferings the Pandavas has to undergo, so many calamities they had to undergo. At some places we also read, chanting the holy name of the Lord eradicates all the past sins. So how do you understand the sufferings of Pandavas? It was because it was a karmic reaction, or Krishna wanted them to suffer? How do you understand this whole thing?
Very nice question. Many times people say that if Pandavas were so close to Krishna, why underwent so many sufferings? So definitely is not because of karma. They are pure devotees, so karma has no action upon them. So it was Krishna's plan. So what my understanding is, that number one, he wanted to show to the world that a life of a devotee is not always bed of roses. You always have difficulties. But we can take inspiration from Pandavas that how to remember Krishna at the time of difficulty. And secondly, Krishna always helped in the time of difficulty. That was another important lesson. That Krishna wanted to tell the world that my devotees are never alone. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. And Krishna made sure, and he proved all the time, whenever Pandavas were in danger, he always protected them. In the entire battle of Mahabharata, everyone was killed except the 5 Pandava brothers. That message Krishna wanted to give to the entire world, that my devotees never perish. And as far as Pandavas were concerned, they never felt the calamity. For them, calamity was the greatest ecstasy because they remembered Krishna. Like what Kunti Mani prayed, that for a devotee, calamities are welcome because they remember Krishna during calamity. And Krishna came to them during calamity. So from Pandavas' perspective, there is no calamity at all. They were always in bliss, remembering Krishna, and Krishna always came. But for us, it's a lesson that devotees also may undergo difficulties, but in difficulties, if you remember Krishna, Krishna will surely protect us. That's my understanding. Okay. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.